2 full months ago, Diamond Distributors, the sole distributor of major comic publishers to shops everywhere, shut down its warehouses by order of the governors in the respective states that they occupied. And in these last few months, local comic shops, artists, writers, and publishers have faced an incredible financial strain unlike any other crisis in the history of the industry. Free Comic Book Day, cons, books, all canceled. And today, for the first time in months, it is New Comic Book Day. And the industry has changed, and will be now probably forever. This week, I'm looking at the future and what it might hold for sequential art. I'm Dan Umpton, and this is the Doomcast. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I've grieved the loss of New Comic Book Day. That weekly ritual of getting new books, often way more than I can read in a single week, is a comfortable coda each Wednesday. And comforting to know that a lot of these characters that are ageless and will evolve and adapt to everything in and out of comics. But this thing that we've all gone through, collectively, that has somehow lost its gravity over time, that's become a new normal, has rendered fiction meaningless. The absurdity of all of this has made satire and comedy nearly impossible, and then it shut down comics and cons, and rightfully there's no reason to endanger workers in warehouses or comic shops, or even hold a con right now. Of course, there were people gloating about pencils down orders, even famous creators who can't draw feet and regularly neglect to mention the co-creators of their most famous two creations, Cable and Deadpool, felt the need to snark gleefully at Marvel and DC, which of course is symptomatic. Comics weren't going away forever. Being happy about the collapse of something that you care about, supposedly, is backward and childish. Marvel and DC weren't going to get sold off for parts by parent companies because the created intellectual property is more valuable than the publishing loss itself. Always has been. I hope that the angry comic skaters guys end up even more forgotten than they are after all of this, gloating like they did. Petty is a bad look, and doubly so after a crisis like this. I don't know if it's safe to reopen comic book stores. I don't know if it's safe to put workers back in distribution centers or at presses. Regardless, the industry will need help, and while it's going to take some time to recover, maybe some things will change, and hopefully for the better. Hopefully one of those things is greater competition and distribution. It seems crippling and dangerous for there to be just a single monopoly on distribution in comics, and the loss of the distribution chain and supply managed to cripple the entire industry. But it did help local comic book stores inadvertently, because while most of them were shut down and had no new products, they also had no new bills from the distributor. Conventions seem to be done for the year. While I know some that I would really like to attend and I'd like to support, I don't know when the time will come when enough fans and creators will feel confident enough to gather en masse in a convention center with recirculated air for 3 days. In normal circumstances, I find myself frequently returning from that with a bug of some kind. So whenever they do, I hope that hand sanitizer stations might be the norm, and hugs and handshakes will just be done. Masks, though it wouldn't be a problem for a lot of cosplayers, might become a requirement. Movie theaters may never look the same. I mean, do you reopen at half capacity? Will that be enough revenue for movie theaters to stay open, or for major releases and minor releases to be profitable, or even recoup their own budget? Draft house theaters are the best, in my opinion, and while I don't want them to disappear, I don't know when I'm going to see a movie again, especially not where I'm going to be eating and drinking. Hopefully comic book shops will find new creative ways to bring in customers, maybe subscriptions or packing services, curbside pickup, but for me, I'm just grateful to see books that I'm excited for again. This week my pull list includes Kieran Gillen's Ludocrats 1, which looks amazing. I love everything Kieran Gillen does. Also the Dollhouse family, and anything else that may or may not be shipping that has been in my pull list that I don't know if it's going to come. I'm excited because it might be a surprise. So get out, support your local comic book shop, buy a trade, fill in some back issues, buy a game, start a pull list. Now is the best time to jump in, maybe ever, in comics. X-Men just rebooted, everything has changed, and now you can be a geek with abandon, but do it safely. Thanks everybody, this has been the Doomcast. I'm taking off this next week for Memorial Day, so I will see you in 2 weeks.